This is Darnell, and this is my 10-day review of the Phillips Air Fryer XXL, the Avance line of the XXL Phillips Air Fryer. And the reason why this is a 10-day review, a lot of other reviews that I do after doing some cooks and such are like a 30-day review, but this one's just 10 days because my NuWave Primo is coming tomorrow. So basically in the line of videos and stuff I've been making, the Primo came along as I'm in the midst of testing out this Phillips Air Fryer XXL, but the Primo's got me so excited I'm going to jump off into the Primo, and so I wanted to do a summary review of the Phillips Air Fryer XXL now. Maybe at some other point in time I'll get back off into the Phillips a little more deeper. But for what I've done up to this point with the Phillips Air Fryer XXL in 10 days, I've done mostly from frozen type foods. So you've already seen a lot of videos of things that I've been cooking in it. And basically I do those because, for these types of air fryers, that's what a lot of people are cooking. That's just the bare facts there. So been doing a lot of cooking of different things, various things from frozen that are really popular with a lot of people, and just do it to test out and let you see how it does. So basically this cooker, it's been doing, with the things that I've thrown at it, it's done a pretty decent job. Now when I say it does a pretty decent job, I mean with the foods that work well in it. You know, a lot of the frozen foods I've thrown at it work out well. But basically there's some things that you got to be very cautious about in this air fryer, especially in this air fryer, from my experiences with others. One is with bacon. Although if you have some meaty, thin bacon, you may be able to cook it successfully in here. If you have bacon with fat, if you have bacon that makes some like smoke or grease when it cooks, do not, and I warn you, do not put it in this air fryer. If you have bacon that is greasy and fatty, or has a lot of fat and it's going to make a lot of grease and a lot of smoke, or make any smoke, this air fryer exemplifies, it like magnifies the smoke times I don't know what. It's like really bad. Like seriously, the worst I have seen of smoke cooking bacon in an air fryer of any cooker that I've used till today. I mean that. So and I use some thick cut bacon when I do my test of bacon in these air fryers, and that gives you a good test of, if you got some real fatty bacon that's going to make a lot of smoke and such, how it's going to perform. This one, when it comes to cooking some real fat, oily bacon, it gets an F. So basically the smoke management in general for this cooker, I'd say it's poor. You're not supposed to add any oil to it, and if you do, very little, like very small amount, thing like half tablespoon or something, or less. Really, you're not supposed to add any oil when you're cooking anything in here. You shouldn't really have to add any oils. It does a good job with its twin turbo technology of removing the excess grease, but that excess grease, when it goes down the fat collector, it gets hot. And if it's really oily, fatty, it causes a ton of smoke. But at the same time, the cooker does a good job with that cyclone of hot air of cooking things up pretty good in pretty good time. Now it does seem to pretty much air fry pretty well. It's a pretty decent, just for its own regard, air fryer. I would say it's probably, like along the lines of like the Power Air Fryer Oven Elite, as far as the things that, how things turn out, cooking things in it and such. So, I'd say the Cuisinart is probably the fastest that I've used. This one is probably like right around second, or, in some things it can go as fast as like the Cuisinart, and some things it's, just a moment behind, but it's pretty good as far as air frying goes, which is its primary function. One thing for this style of air fryer, it's a basket air fryer, so you open it up and you basically put your food in the basket to cook it. Once you close up, you can't see a thing, while it's cooking. Unlike with the oven style air fryers and toaster ovens, you can see your food while it's cooking. When your food's getting burnt, when your food's getting too hot. With this cooker, you really don't. I could say basically you have to kind of go off smell. When you smell the food, really, it smells like it's really cooking up a lot in there. it's probably done. It's probably time to stop. So, and it cooks things up pretty quick. So if you smell like your food's, cooking up in there, even though it hasn't been a long time, you might pop it open. You hit the pause, pop it open, take a look, because it's going to cook up quick. I usually used an instant read thermometer when testing foods that were cooked in this, because I didn't want to use any type of thermometer that would have a cord that would hang out and I'd have to try and close the door, on the cord. I didn't want to have to do any of that. So I usually used an instant read thermometer with it. So not being able to see the food, and having it kind of be this tight design of this type that you couldn't even, put like maybe a temperature probe or feel comfortable putting a temperature probe in. That's not as cool as other cookers, especially not being able to just see, the food, how far it's done. When you can see it, then you can more easily tell on your own, if you want it to cook longer or not. Now this air fryer can hold up to about a 3.5 pound chicken. I have not done a whole chicken in it, and really it's kind of a hassle just getting one of those small young 3.5 pound chickens, because not a lot of places sell them. I know a place that does, but they charge you up for it, and it's so little meat in just a 3.5 pound chicken. So it's not able to cook any real large meals. They do, as far as just cooking like your frozen stuff and other stuff, party foods and whatnot, they make like a party rack that gives an extra level, which is nice to have. If you're thinking about getting this Phillips Air Fryer XXL, I definitely recommend you get that party rack, that second wire rack that can give you an extra layer. And here's that party rack. It just fits inside. You just kind of set food on the bottom, and then you can set the rack in there, and it gives you the extra level of cooking. So you have 2 levels. So that's pretty nice. It still doesn't give you as many levels as some other cookers, but 1 extra level is still nice to have. I have found that recipes from other air fryer ovens and toaster ovens and the NuWave oven are cross compatible with the Phillips Air Fryer XXL. You may have to adjust your times a little depending on the cooker that you're kind of reappropriating a recipe from, because this cooks kind of on par with the speed of maybe the Power Air Fryer Oven Elite, and in some cases the Cuisinart Digital Air Fryer Toaster Oven, which is a hotter side cooker. So you have to make sure that you, like I said, checking that things are not being overcooked, because this will overcook. You won't see it, and once you open that door, it'll be a sad sight. Now, interestingly enough, I have found that this cooker does toast pretty well. If you're like toasting waffles or other foods you want to toast, it toasts pretty well. You just do like 350 for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and depending on how well you want things done, it will toast pretty good, and toast on both sides pretty decent a little bit too. So it's a pretty nice, ironically, a pretty nice toaster. Now, one thing that these air fryers, even though they heat from the top, a lot of them might not heat the underside as well. This one does do a fairly respectable job of cooking on both sides, especially if you preheat. If you preheat so that the bottom layer, that bottom metal gets real hot, it'll cook both sides pretty decent. Now they do recommend that, depending on the food you're cooking, that you flip it. And so it basically depends on the food that you're going to cook whether or not you need to flip. But as far as air fryers go in general, this one does a respectable job of cooking on both sides, and does better than some others in cooking on both sides. Now this cooker, you can't dehydrate with it because it doesn't get down low enough to do dehydration type of work, and I don't think that they intended for that type of work. So you can't do things like dehydrate with it. Although it is promoted as being able to bake, I found that just like using like some frozen biscuits or something in here, that it overcooks the top of them a bit too much. So it is a heavy top side cooker, kind of like your Power Air Fryer Oven Elite might be a pretty heavy top side cooker because all the heat's coming from the top. So even like trying to get things preheated, put the biscuits in there and such, it's still a pretty top heavy cooker. I haven't really done a whole lot more baking than that in it, but from everything that I've seen, I would say that if you really want to be baking, you got to go with like your toaster oven style air fryers. They're going to do a whole lot better when it comes to baking than something like this when it comes to if you're doing a lot of baking. far as cleaning, it's a pretty easy cleanup. The parts all in here are very non-stick, so I had an easy time every time I needed to clean it. Getting all the parts, cleaned off was easy. I always cleaned it by hand, even though you can put it in the dishwasher. I didn't really want to take any chances with any of these parts in the dishwasher. Plus, they're pretty large, so I mean, it would take up a lot of room in the dishwasher anyway if you're going to put it in the dishwasher. So it was just more convenient just to wash it by hand, and it was pretty easy cleaning. Now, this compared to, and I'm just going to compare it to all the air fryer toaster ovens in general, whether it's Cuisinart, whether it's the NuWave Breville, whether it's any of the other air fryer toaster ovens out there. In general, I will say I definitely like them over this type of cooker because, of course, I can see the food. They can do more versatile types of cooks. They are able to do things like dehydration. There's so much more, and they can hold a whole lot across one layer more than this. So I definitely prefer those types of cookers over this type of cooker in general when it comes to this versus any of the air fryer toaster oven style cookers. Now, this compared to like the Power Air Fryer Oven, Power Air Fryer Oven Elite, I say that I personally prefer the Power Air Fryer Oven, Power Air Fryer Oven Elite over this Phillips Air Fryer XXL because they have 3 levels, at minimum 3 levels, or if you get the 8 quart you could have more, but they have more levels. It's just the design is able to just hold more stuff, more layers of stuff, just the way it's designed. So I really like that. They both, like I said, the Power Air Fryer Oven and this can cook pretty much on par with each other, pretty much overall on par with each other. So having more room is pretty nice to have. You can get a Power Air Fryer Oven for far less than you can this Phillips Air Fryer XXL. And I got this Phillips Air Fryer XXL on sale for like $229. That's still a lot more than like a Power Air Fryer Oven. And so, just my personal opinion, this is just not as good because also like the Power Air Fryer Oven can do things like dehydrate and such. So you've got more versatility there. Now, to compare this Phillips Air Fryer XXL to like the NuWave Oven Pro, I'll say definitely I would go with the NuWave Oven Pro, even though it isn't able to cook as hot as this air fryer can, because this can get up to like 400 degrees at max. The NuWave Oven Pro can get to like 350. I know that there's like the NuWave Oven Elite that can go hotter. I don't have the Primo yet, so I can't speak to the Primo, but all the same, I feel that this, as far as hotness, I would go with this all the same as far as hotness between NuWave ovens and this. But still all the same, the NuWave Oven line of cookers, it's able to hold so much more, they're able to do so much more. You can do your dehydration, you can do your air frying, you can do your baking, you can do so much different types of cook, and it's just larger and able to hold so much more. You can get a 12-inch pizza in there, you can only get a small pizza in here. So there's so much more capability in a NuWave oven. I would definitely go with a NuWave oven before I went with the Phillips Air Fryer XXL. So I basically have already done an earlier unboxing and review of all the different functions and features and buttons. So if you haven't seen that, you definitely want to see that, because I also did some other testing of different types in that video. But now you basically can, let me know what your thoughts are as far as this. Maybe you have one, maybe you don't. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. But I wanted to basically go through this air fryer and, kind of give an review of it. And this is just a 10-day review, giving my thoughts and impressions of, after using it for some time, how I feel about it. So, there's cook videos already out, there's the unboxing already out, and so this is just, to summarize things and wrap it up. But let me know what you think. Also, plenty of recipes at superwaveovenrecipes.com. Also, if you want to come directly to this YouTube channel, go to waveovenrecipes.com. Twitter and Instagram, Wave Oven Recipes. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, subscribe to the channel, and good eating.